Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Divinely Crowned Conversations podcast. I am your girl, Davina, and I am so happy to it's Friday, so I love that it's Friday. And,
Absolutely.
I'm at the place that I record my podcast. They're having a Christmas party, so, I'm all festive right now. But either way, I'm excited because today we have another divine guest, and I'm so excited to get to know her more, Miss Camille Crenshaw.
Hello.
Hello. So before I let her introduce herself, I just want to make sure you guys remember to like this video, come and interact with us in the comments, subscribe to Divinely Crowned on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and all those good things. And I also hope you guys are having a great Friday as well. But so without further ado, let Miss Camille introduce herself to the world.
Hello, everyone. First and foremost, I would just like to say it is an honor and a privilege to be here with my lovely Miss Davina. But I am Camille Crenshaw. I'm 31 years old. I keep trying to say I'm 32. I don't know why I keep doing that.
It's a good
blame
time.
the pandemic. Like, how old are you? Like 32. And I'm like, that's not right. 31.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm 32 though.
And listen, the age just gets better.
Yeah, yes, it does.
I have 3 siblings. I'm the oldest of 3, so I have a younger brother and a younger sister, and a little niece that I adore.
Yeah.
She's the cutest. What else? I graduated from the University of Akron with a bachelor's in family and child development. It has absolutely nothing to do with what I currently do. Of course. Surprise. Are we shocked? Like, I think that's just what happens with this age. And now that's pretty much it.
All right. Yeah, pretty much it for now.
Yes.
And before we get any further, y'all, I just gotta brag a little bit. So I went to get her off the elevator and she had brought me some purple flowers. So if y'all know me, if you follow me on social media, one, my favorite color is purple, and two, one of my love languages, we talk about love languages, it's flowers. So
yay.
She knows the way to my heart, okay? So I was like, when I get on here, I'm gonna definitely brag that you brought me flowers. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're so deserving.
Thank you. So yes, on Divinely Crowned, we are all about just having real, honest, open, transparent conversations about the everyday journeys of being the queens we are so destined to be.
Absolutely.
So where we come from, where we're at now, and where we're going is what I'm always like, let's talk about the journey, because I do feel like we don't always talk about the journey. People see maybe where we're at in our life now, whether it's good or bad, but they don't know how we got there. Right. So I just was like, I want to start having these conversations with these queens. We have them behind closed doors.
Absolutely.
But I think that we all need to just, tell our stories in whatever way that looks like. So I always like to go back to the beginning.
Sure.
So we talk about you have siblings and things like that, but let's talk about, what young Miss Camille was like.
Quiet, still quiet, honestly. That's one of the first things that people say. Like, I'm an observer. I like to just sit back and kind of read the room, honestly. But quiet. I loved outdoors. I still love outdoors to this day.
Yeah.
The saying, like, what would you do if you knew you wouldn't fail? It would be to like backpack the world.
Oh, wow.
Like, if it was just me and my backpack and I got to see the entire world, like, I would be perfectly okay with that.
I love it.
So love the outdoors. I love to laugh, have a good time. I love to dance. I'm always on the dance floor somewhere. Yeah, but she was quiet. She loved the outdoors, and like I said, still do. Dancing and being surrounded by like family and friends and loved ones. So.
And it's so funny you share all that. Like, we just met like with fully within this last year.
Yes.
But like even just watching your social media or like meeting you in person, like everything you said you were when you were younger, like you're still to this day. Like I've seen your pictures of you traveling, and I've danced with you and turned up with you, even at the soiree. And it's just like, so yeah, it's cool to see that journey has not left. And I think those are great qualities and great things to love about life from a young age to now an adult woman. So you talk about family. So what, you have siblings? Mm-hmm. How many siblings do you have?
So I have 3.
Okay.
I am the youngest or oldest, excuse me.
That's a big difference.
Right. I'm the oldest of 3. So I have a younger brother who is, and I always get our age difference.
Oh my gosh.
It's like 2 years. I don't know. And then
we close enough.
My sister, who is 8 years younger than me. That I can always remember. So yes, I love them dearly. I texted my sister today, like, Sissy, I'm gonna be on a podcast.
Oh, shout out to the siblings.
So yeah, I love both of them. Me and my brother were thick as thieves. We lived together in undergrad. We fought each other.
Of course.
I mean, I know. When the age gap is smaller, I feel like it's easier to you know what buttons to push.
Because you're about twins. Mm-hmm. Like that, I get it. Because my oldest sister and I are pretty close in age. But now I have 2 kids that are like 2 years apart. Mm-hmm. So I get it fully.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit more about what it was like growing up as the oldest sibling and just how that life looked for you.
It was kind of like playing second mom, to be completely honest. Especially because my sister was so much younger than I was. It was funny because we had Thanksgiving together and we were talking about just like changing diapers and stuff like that with my niece, and my brother was like, I didn't change any diapers before this, and I'm like, you didn't change like my sister's, like our sister's diaper? And he was like, no. And I'm just like, oh, you must be lucky.
Right? I grew up like this,
waking up like, I need you to change your diaper.
Oh,
like, this is not my baby.
Listen,
but I love her nonetheless.
I get it. So do you feel like being the oldest, like I know from my sister, she's had the most, like, she was like the trial and error child, almost like that. So do you feel like maybe that was kind of like what you were like?
I think a little bit, but because I listened so well to my parents, and they will tell you this, like I probably had the least amount of headaches. Like, you do whatever, I'm doing it. I don't want no smoke. I don't want a whooping. I don't want no problems. Like, if this what you want me to do, I'm gonna do it.
Yes.
So I'm sure there was definitely some trial and error there, but because I was such a good child,
okay,
I like to think,
Yes. So you were raised by both parents, right? Yep. Okay. So how was that, being raised by both your parents? Because I know that's a silly question, but it's an honest question, because I feel like that we have different worlds when it comes to having both your parents in your life.
It was a blessing, and I don't try to downplay that by any means. I know there's a lot of people, a lot of friends who weren't fortunate enough to have both parents in their household. Sometimes it's also not like the cream of the corn or whatever they say that people think it is. Every family has its challenges, matter what.
For sure.
Everyone's growing at their own pace at the same time together.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be, some conflict here or there, but I am extremely grateful to have both of my parents in my life. Each of them kind of different personalities. My mom, quiet, like me. My dad, you will absolutely know when he's in the room. Like, there's no question about it. Mr. Crenshaw.
Mr. Crenshaw. I just met him recently. I actually met your brother at an event, and then I met your dad like a few weeks ago at the Erie's Black Wall Street event.
Yep,
so he's definitely very outgoing and outspoken. So I know exactly what you mean.
For sure know that he is there, and I love him dearly. I was just thinking about on the way over here, because I knew, we're going to talk about family. But one of the things I love about him is just his ability to stay calm during like different situations. And like, that's one of the things that I look up to. Like, I'll think about when we'll be flying somewhere on a plane and there'll be like turbulence or something happening. And I'm thinking like, oh, we're about to die. And I'm looking over at my dad, and he's like,
Yes.
Sleep in the seat. And I'm like, okay, if he's asleep, maybe we're not dying.
Yeah.
Because he's not panicked.
He's
like,
not
it's all
kidding.
good. So
Yes.
definitely my rock. Like, I look up to him even though people aren't really superheroes, like in my mind,
people are superheroes. I
I
agree. Listen, no, people are superheroes. There are real life superheroes in the world, and that is yours. So, you talk about, that, how he can stay calm, and how your mom, how your mom's the calm one and your dad's the outgoing one. So, what type of values do you feel like they, some things that you feel like they instilled into you as a child that maybe now as a grown adult woman at 31, not 32, has helped mold you into the woman you are today?
Absolutely. So my dad, for sure, it would be the drive. We work late hours, which I'm sure at some point we'll get to my job, which is a family business. It has its pros and cons. But we stay late hours, and anytime we do something, like when I go to purchase something, I'll look at 3 different items and I'll get a quote and I'll budget it. And that's because anytime he would ask us for stuff, he's like, you get 3 quotes.
Wow.
And then the cheapest. So like that type of stuff. People know I'm known for spreadsheets.
Yeah.
When we go out of town, it's a spreadsheet.
It's a spreadsheet for me.
I got the place, what we're wearing, the weather, how much. It gets a little extreme.
Listen, but still, I might need you on my trips because I need that type of.
It is helpful. Like, I posted one before, and Nia was like joking on Twitter, and her friends, because we were going to her homecoming, we're like, girl, let me get that spreadsheet. I'm like,
see, don't play. She about to start selling spreadsheets for trips. Y'all know I'm playing. Let me not for y'all be in her DMs like, can you plan my trip with your spreadsheet?
Right. No, I'm sorry. But yeah, so I definitely got that from my dad. From my mom, just the way that she loves and cares for people. Anyone that meets her, they're always, and it could only be once, they're like, she's like the sweetest, most caring person that I've ever met. And that's definitely what she is to me. Even this morning, she was like, I was praying for you.
Oh, Mama.
So
I love it.
So good. With all the hearts. I'm like, I'm not trying to like cry before I go on this podcast.
You got to do what you got to do sometimes.
So I would definitely think that they've instilled both of those in me. And I think I can say that I carry
those
awesome.
Values. You do. You definitely do. I mean, just your sweet personality. You've always just been a sweetheart when I've talked to you or anything. So shout out to the parents who have instilled great values and morals. Shout out to the Crenshaws. So you talk about, so we still are fresh. And actually I all the time I try to like give the backstory of how like my guest and I have met. And we met through, I believe, Janessa mostly. Then we met at a business conference, and you were just like, I follow you. I'm like, I feel like I know your face. And I'm like, add me on Instagram or I'll add you. And I'm like, oh, we're already friends because I'd be just creeping and stuff.
Taking the words out of my mouth. I think we creeped on each other for a while.
It's okay.
We actually met because you were like, yes. Girl, like, don't even know you, but I feel it. Like,
yes, so that's how we met, and like every time I've ever seen you, it's just always good vibes and love. You're in one of my recent reels. We were turning up at Dre's art installation. So it's always been a pleasure. So like you said, like I know those things, and I've only known you for not even that long period of time that like you exude what your parents put into you. So shout out to them again. So you talk about, that's where I was going with that. You talk about family business. So you have a family business. Tell me how that is, especially I want to say as a Black family.
You got 5 more hours.
Like, listen, we might need 3 episodes for this. But how is it having a family business as a Black family?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. Of course, with anything, you have hard times sometimes. I think people get this idea of entrepreneurship as this like golden, like beautiful thing, and it is beautiful, but the work that it takes, like you never clock out.
I'm learning that.
You never clock out. I want my own hours, baby. You about to be working 24 hours. It doesn't stop. But I'm appreciative to the family dynamic. It is something that's different because even my brother works there as well, doing different than what I do, more of the construction aspect of things. And when my sister was home for the summer, she worked there as well. So it is very different. And to be honest, I don't know if I've ever told my parents this, but I'm actually very proud of the accomplishments that they have, because they've been in business for about 30 years.
Wow.
And my dad never went to college. So it's like he's doing all this from, you know, just the same type of determination that my grandfather instilled upon him.
Yeah.
But it's nice sometimes to go home or to go to work and see your parents, but sometimes it's like I could really rather not.
Yeah. Try living with them. So listen, I live with mine, so I get it.
Listen, power to you, because there was a point where it was both. And I was like, I cannot live with you
and work with you.
Yeah, keep my sanity.
Yeah, so, I get it.
Yeah,
it's a blessing, but it's a lot.
It's very much a lot, but I wouldn't trade it for the world to just be able to say like, we have a family-owned business and something that will create generational wealth.
For sure.
This is something that, you know, praying sustains for years to come. And we are in property. So that's one of the things that, you know, it's never really going to lose its value. So it's good, honestly.
Nice. So you talk about the fact that you went to school. What were you going to school for?
I have a bachelor's in family and child development.
Okay, and now you're working in your family business
as a property manager.
As a property manager. So how long have you been? Is it just always been that you work with in your family business? Okay.
Yeah. So I was doing my resume because I am looking to potentially move at some point. So I was getting that together, and I looked. And I was like, I've been doing this for 16 years because I've been doing it since, anytime when high school summer would come. And of course, I have more responsibility now,
for sure.
Like filing papers, taking phone calls, doing any type of office stuff. I was doing that since I was 15, 16.
Wow,
so It's very interesting.
I love that, though. And so you were instilled with business mindset. So does that make you want to have your own business ever?
Honestly, it doesn't. It doesn't. I'm still on the journey of kind of finding myself and what it is that I really want to do.
Yeah.
And so I used to want to have like some type of nonprofit that was just, giving back to the people.
Okay.
But the more I truck along, the more I'm like, I don't really know if that's something that I want to do. So we're still trying to feel it out. Of course, I have, the mindset and the capability and the family backing me if I ever did decide to do that. Yeah. But it's still something that's kind of on the table.
Listen, this is part of the journey. So with you remind me again what you were going to school for.
Family and child development.
So what made you even want to go into that field when you were going to school?
So I have a love for kids. I love kids. Kids love me.
Yes.
And so I actually was going to do child life specialist, which is something people I don't think are too familiar with. So what it is when people or kids are in like the NICU or they're in the hospital for long periods of time, these people come in and they'll read books, take care of them. And it's not like a nurse's job where they're there to just like, take your blood pressure or whatever. It's actually just to spend time with the kids. So I started doing that, and we would go when I did my internship and just read to the kids, play with the kids, just try to make their stay at the hospital a little bit more comfortable because they would be there for like months on end. And so from that, it just didn't work out. And so I transitioned just to family and child development, honestly, because it was the easiest thing for me to hurry up and finish and stop giving this college my money. They had about had enough.
Yes.
And so,
give us our money back, please.
Please. So it was easiest just to transition in that. But my heart is always with the kids. At one point, I did think about maybe opening up my own daycare. But the thing with that, because I would want it to be on such a large scale, you kind of lose the one-on-one with the kids, because when you're a director, you're not in the classroom, and I didn't really see myself wanting to be in the classroom either. So we're still kind of feeling, but my heart is still always with the kids.
Well, I'm gonna be looking out for that in the future, even if it's not in Erie, because you said you want to leave. Have you ever you went to school, but have you always been in Erie outside
of being, so that was in Akron. So outside of that, I've been here the whole time.
All right. And let me see, we got some comments. We have Tasia, another one of my divine guests. I love you. She said family business is definitely rewarding, but can be tough. I agree. So you are very big into friendship as well. So we talk about family. We talk about, and now I want to talk about a little bit about friends. And speaking of a friend, Janessa says, hey, y'all. Hi, Janessa.
Hey.
And I love you. She said, Tasha said, I love you too. So Janessa's in the comments. And I know, like I said, that's how we kind of connected. So like I said, I always see you with your girls when you're out. You guys have this like nice size group of friends. So tell me what friendship means and how what that looks like for you.
Yeah, I'm actually, and we've, I think, grown more
as
the years have gone on. Friends have always been important to me. I have what I call like my childhood friends and then like my adulthood friends.
Yeah.
So like my childhood friends would be like Nia, who you always see.
Shout out to Nia. We're gonna have to get Nia on here too.
Yes.
Okay, because Janessa's coming. Janessa's coming soon.
Yes, I love her. Love both of them.
Yes.
But yeah, so and I would really call it my childhood and church.
Okay.
Friends. So like we all like grew up in the church, that type of deal. And then I have like my adult friends, so like Janessa, and then like the group of friends, honestly, that she introduced me to because they were her friends first, and they both of them mean the world to me. We're constantly, you know, in the group chat saying things, always encouraging things. You know, one of us has a bad day, we can put in the group like, I'm not feeling it today. And immediately everyone's like, girl, like you were this, this, and this. Like,
period. That's the type of friends you need.
Yes, absolutely.
That is the type of friends you need. I have Kyra. Hi, Kyra. She says, I love when friends become family. That is a great thing.
Yeah.
So tell me, so you talk about like you have your church friends and then you have your adult friends. And I think like, I don't sometimes think people realize how important adult friends are. So you do talk about like, you know, having those friends that you can like reach out to. So like, I guess, what made you realize that those were your people as adults? Because I do believe that we have like this transition from sometimes not the people we grew up with or even we're in our early 20s with and stuff grow into who we become, and we have to let those people go. So like, tell me like how you found your people.
Yeah, that's a great question. Trial and error, honestly. And it boils down to what type of, I hate the word vibe, what type of spirit are you bringing to me? Is it one of productivity? Is it one where, you know, it's caring? Is it loving? Are we having conversations with depth? Or are we just talking about what we saw on Twitter or Jackie down the street type of deal? Are we almost mentoring each other? Because everyone's in a different stage of life. And honestly, one of the things that I love so much about the adult friends is that it will turn into a conversation like this, like within 10 minutes. It's like a therapy session. Every time we get together, I can think back to maybe a couple weeks ago when I was at Janessa's, and it usually ends up at her house because we love her house. But we'll be sitting around and we're getting ready to go out, and one thing gets brought up, and now we're sitting here crying, and I'm like,
this is the best. That's the best.
Get here? But it's therapeutic.
It's
cathartic. It's you know, all of the things that a friendship should be. So if you're not bringing those things to the table for me, then unfortunately, and it's never, you know, not any, I don't love you, because, you know, if I loved you once, you know, I'll love you always. But loving you doesn't mean I have to like keep you within my circle.
Facts. That's good. That's some good. And I hope somebody can take and understand that, because I think as we grow as adults, especially these early 30s, where this is like when we are really finding out who we are, finding our purpose, understanding our purpose, and understanding who we are. And when the right people come into your life, it's like the most beautiful thing. But then it's also hard when you have to let go of those people that aren't fitting into that mold. And like you said, it's not like I don't love you, I don't care about you, but I have changed. People make it seem like a bad thing when it's like, oh, you done switched up because you changed. Yes, I did change. And if you can't match what I've changed, who I've changed into, I love you from a distance. Absolutely. So that's some good stuff right there. We got some comments. Hold on, let me see. Latoya, she gives butterflies. Latoya, we've never met in person, but spirit, you talk about spirit for years. Like, she's like my soul sister. Like,
Yes.
It's always been a beautiful connection. So shout out to her. We have Janessa. She said those intimate conversations are crucial for deep connections. They sure are. And we have Elder Lyons. He said, that's good. Loving you doesn't mean I have to keep you in my circle. So yes. So we talk about spirit and vibes and everything. And we talked before even this, and we're both women of faith. So tell me how your faith plays a big role in your life.
Oh, it is everything, honestly. So I'm in a growing stage actually right now. Like, talk about changing.
Yes.
Coming out of a situation where the only place I could turn was God. And I honestly sometimes hate the phrase when people are like, oh, you turn to everyone but God. Over here, baby, it's him first.
Facts. I need you.
I don't think so. So the intimacy that I have with him, I do devotionals every morning, sometimes at night, sometimes I get a little tired, but I always start out my day, whether it's YouVersion Bible app or something else. I start my day, start my mind just giving him, honor, praise, and glory, because without him, I know, everything that I went through, I wouldn't have been able, to get through. I struggled with, and I firmly believe I'm being hot. So on it, no problem Pastor Michael Todd. I love him. And Tim Ross, I'm plug him into the basement.
I do. Podcast. Yeah, Tim Ross. Yes, because they're connected too, aren't they?
Are. And I think he uses humble on. He changes his age,
before you continue, I just want to make sure we see these questions, these comments, because they were about the other thing. Yes, Tasia says yes, growth is necessary. Kyra said, I read a post 30 seconds ago that said, I've mastered the art form of loving from a distance this year. We have Latoya. She said, this discussion is so good and imperative. And then she puts the hearts with the bandage. And then we have Kyra. She said, I couldn't agree more. So I just want to make sure we didn't lose those. But continue. You talked about, being hot.
I struggled with a lot of anxiety, even before the pandemic, and just not knowing. And I think that was one of the beautiful things that came out of the pandemic is people really paying more attention to their mental health, which is very important. So I got into therapy and I started working through that. And looking back, it's like, I am not even that person that I used to be. There's an app, and I tell this story to all my friends, because sometimes you go through a journey, you don't realize how far you've come. And so there's an app called Abide, which is Christian meditation.
I got it.
Use. And so, there's ones for like forgiveness and anxiety and depression and growing spiritually. And probably about a month or so ago, I realized as I was scrolling through, I would scroll and I'd be like, oh, depression, like I'm not feeling that. Oh, anxiety, like I'm not anxious. Oh, let's grow spiritually. And finally, I think God was just like, do you realize that you no longer need meditations for anxiety, meditations for depression? And it's just like, thank you, God.
That's awesome.
Thank you, God. So,
congratulations.
Thank you.
For real, because that is huge. So we talk about mental health as well. So when you said that it took, once the pandemic hit, you realize like, I got to check myself. And I'm very vocal about mental health and therapy. Like, I've been in therapy for 5 years now. And sometimes I'm like, dang, like, do I really need it that long? But no, I do. And as we grow, I feel like we're unpacking so much of who we are, who we were, and why we are the way we are. And so, like, tell me, like, how has therapy helped you?
It's been super beneficial. I love my therapist. She is a faith-based therapist, which is beneficial to me because we can always kind of integrate it back to what God says. She's really good. She really helped me get down to some of the root of the issues. A lot of times I thought I was more depressed, and it really was more just anxiety about like the fear of things that were to potentially come. And so she's been a great help to me, honestly. I highly recommend anyone who's on the fence about going, just go, because it's beneficial for sure.
Very beneficial. So you, oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. I hate when I do that. So yes, let's talk more about growth, because I feel like on our journeys, this is why I have these conversations. When did you realize like it was time to like get yourself to who I am. Like who is Camille, and why do I do certain things I do, and why do I have all this anxiety and things like that?
So for sure in the beginning of the pandemic, and then also kind of just recently. So I like to keep saying, like, I'm still becoming, like I'm still in the process of that. I can see, little landmarks, or I can say, like, I'm not there, but it's still a process. And it really just went down to how I was feeling. I was like, I don't really want to feel like this anymore. And that's when I really kind of just like flung myself into the Lord. And the feeling that I have now was like no other. I talk to my mom about it all the time, and it's just like, when they talk about joy and peace in the Bible, it's like I could have a bad day, but like I'm still joyful. There's a difference between happiness and having true joy. And I now like kind of fully understand what that means, because whatever happens in my day, it's like, it's okay. Yeah. At the end of the day, I'm joyful. God still got me.
He got you. I love this so much. This is a prayer conversation.
Absolutely.
Okay, we definitely was praying before this conversation. Let me get in the comments. Latoya said, finding your authentic self is such a huge and often silent success that people don't discuss often. And that's why we have these conversations. Yes. Latoya, she was actually one of my first people I interviewed when I was just doing like Facebook. So we got to get her on the actual podcast too. We have, I believe he's your pastor, Daryl.
Yes.
Pastor Daryl. Shout out, Pastor. I just watched your interview too on the social experiment. He said, yes, we must learn to seek God first. Those seasons where God is all we've got is where we discover that God is what we need. Great conversation. We appreciate you being in the comments.
Yes.
So we talked before I got on here just about like the journey as a single woman.
Yes.
And I love this conversation because right now I feel like in the world that's what we talk about. Like relationships, being single, being in your single season, wanting somebody and things like that. So tell me how that journey's been for you.
It's been a rough one. It has. I'm gonna be hot.
Yeah, you're gonna be hot. Listen, I'll tell you, I told you. My story's coming.
It's been rough, but beginning to come out on the other side, you really start to value yourself. And one of the things that I have continued to tell myself is I will no longer go where I'm not valued. Oof. Like if you can't see that, that's unfortunate for you, but I know my value and I will go where, it's appreciated. So, and that's really the biggest thing that I would say when it comes to that. And just when you do that, I feel like you don't settle for anything, that you don't deserve. But I've been having this conversation with God because I don't have any kids either. And of course, the end goal eventually is marriage. But I've had to have those deep conversations where it's like, if that never happened.
Oh, I've had that.
And I actually talked to myself today and I started crying when I was at work because I was like, he is enough.
Yeah.
And, community, friends, of course, I'm going to need those too. But if I don't ever find that person, and God had to check me yesterday. He was like, well, was I enough for you today?
Oh.
I was like, yeah. Was I enough for you yesterday? Yeah. So what makes you think I won't be enough for you tomorrow?
Yes.
Just like, whoo, okay.
Then he checked me while he checking you. Okay, sir. Thank you, God, for checking us. Okay.
I was really checked. I was like, yes.
I know. It is hard though. Like you said, like I have 2 kids and I was in a 13-year unhealthy relationship. And now, like you said, you're knowing your value and knowing your worth and knowing what's out here. It's like, God, what if I never like, am I okay with just being with you? Yeah. Like, I want somebody I can touch and do and like
and
travel and
is like my love language.
Or,
so I'd be saying like, I don't know what you're gonna do about
that. Okay. You must got something. But those are hard conversations that as single women who have found their value, who understand what it looks like to not know your worth and things like that. Like, and being a woman of faith who is a Christian woman who has a different type of maybe view of looking at things in the world. So
Yep.
it's like, it is a hard, it's a hard thing.
Yep.
I know.
It's a tough conversation.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be listen, because it's tough. It's a tough one.
Not easy. And it's like, you don't want to feel desperate for this love and things like that. But I also feel like, for me personally, it's like, when you've never felt a healthy relationship, it's like, but I want to feel that before I leave this earth. But that is your healthy relationship, being with the Lord. But it's like, it's also, but I think he got somebody for both of us. So,
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
We just gonna keep, we gonna keep being in our single season.
Absolutely. And loving it.
Loving it. Yes.
There's another podcast I follow. It's called Living Single. And the aspect that she wanted to go off of, instead of always trying to tell singles how to date, how to find somebody, is how to truly live single. Do what you want to do. I think about now, like, if I wanted to, I could book a flight and be gone for months on end. I mean, if I had the money, of course, because no one is relying on me. I don't have to check with anyone. I can do whatever I want. And so that's what I'm really kind of coming into, is like, it's just me out here. Yeah. And I can go have the best life that I want to have and not worry about anything.
Yeah, for sure. That is so true. We have more comments. Let me see. Latoya, she said, also, people must know that growth doesn't equate to no more pain or struggles. It just builds resilience for you to continue to endure anyhow. Janessa said, yes, boo, we do not settle over here. I can hear that in your voice too, literally. Latoya said, and he does. And then Elder Lion said, sometimes God brings us to the place where we are settled with him alone, so we can handle who he is sending to us. Ooh, that's good. That's good. Woo! Come on and have church on the Divinely Crown'd Conversation podcast. Latoya said, Elder Lion, so true. Zoe Crenshaw, who is this?
That's my sister.
Hi, sister. I kind of figured. Hi, sister. She said, singleness is a blessing. So we talk about singleness, and we talk about, knowing your value and things like that. So Divinely Crown'd's all about confidence and self-love, which is, I told you beforehand, like, a lot of who I am is because of what I've been through in relationship and things like that. So Divinely Crown'd, one of the reasons it was birthed out of my broken place. And it's all about, like, learning to have self-love and confidence. And so what does that look like for you?
It honestly looks like really what you see now, because I'm in the process of kind of being birthed out of the brokenness. And it's crazy because I think it's Tony Evans that talks about just like the good things that come from the pain. Like, up until this point, I was one of those people that I never experienced like a heartbreak, and I would look at other people kind of crazy, like, what's happening? And then God was like, I got one for you.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Welcome.
I'd rather return,
right?
But it's been a journey, and it's really uplifted myself to know another, I feel like, is a keyword nowadays, but is boundaries, and just knowing like what I will and won't tolerate anymore. And so I've always been, for the most part, at least going through high school and college, pretty confident. I do this thing, and I try not to make it sound conceited, but sometimes when I get in the mirror, I'll just look and I'll be like, girl, you cute.
That ain't conceited, that's confidence, because I do it all the time. Okay?
We're on the same page.
Listen.
So, and I am just really loving who I am in this stage. Like, I haven't worked out in forever. I talk about with my friends, like, power to
y'all. Listen,
and I do love working out, but that's one of the things I haven't been able to, jump back into. But I always say, you gonna take all of this as it is,
period. Or get to stepping, because listen, one day, because I feel you, because like my weight's always been up and down. So listen, just get in the season, and deal with the season I'm in, or get lost. Okay.
And it makes such a difference, honestly, when you're confident and you love yourself and you're sure of yourself. how you interact with other people,
Yes.
how you deal with other people.
Very
it makes
true.
a world of a difference when you're secure in yourself. You know, the things that other people say or the things you might think someone says will say about you because of what you do, it's kind of null and void.
Yeah.
You just live your true self, and if you're with it, you're with it. If you're not, you're not.
Yeah, that's so true. And like I have adopted the confidence looks good on you, because I do believe that you can have the best outfit on and have the lowest self-esteem, but if people see that confidence first and foremost,
absolutely.
I forget who I was talking to, but it was like, you can wear a trash bag, and like if you're confident in what you got on, people will be like, oh
that's cute.
Yeah, she's okay. No, for real. So we have Nakaya. She said, confronting those emotions through the self-love journey are important. Yes, it is. Danielle Lee, she said, loving this conversation. This is so good. It really is. I was like, I feel like these are her people. This is a great conversation that has so much value. And I know that every conversation I've had has had so much value. Like, I just know I'm supposed to be doing this, because it's like everything has been so good, and I'm loving these conversations. So I even want to talk a little bit more about what you said about confidence and looking in the mirror. And you're like, it might sound conceited, but I had a friend one time, I said that to my friend, and they're like, do you realize how like big of a deal that is? Like, do you realize that a lot of people don't just look at themselves in the mirror? Like, I'm like you can check your outfit, whatever, but like, have you actually looked at yourself? And I just think that's like definitely not conceited. That's very confident in saying like, this is me, and I'm taking it. Listen, I cry in the mirror, I cuss out people in the mirror, I dance in the mirror, like everything in the mirror, and like literally looking at myself like eye to eye. Like, so tell me like a little bit about like you're saying, like, you know, so for somebody who might not have ever looked at themselves in the mirror, like what would you tell them?
Well, first and foremost, I would say you're beautiful.
Yes.
Just the way that God created you. And there's just so much beauty in people. And it starts, for other people to see it, it has to start within.
Yes.
So I would just say, remind yourself, even if you got to put Post-its on the wall, like being Mary Jane up in here. I got that. I am confident.
Yes.
All of those things. Because it's true. And no matter what anybody else has to say about it, honestly, their opinion doesn't matter, because yours is the only one.
I love that. I love this so much. We have my cousin DL Stanton. He said, "Hey, black girls, we are black queens, but I still love you." Say no black girl magic all up in the thing. Hi, cousins. I just want to shout you out too. You're doing so amazing, and I'm so proud of you. So I love watching him grow. Growth is a beautiful thing, and I do believe it's so many people are growing, and you talk about it through the pandemic, how people have become aware of their mental health and things like that. Like, I feel like that has become, like, I'm so proud of it, especially in our black community.
Black and church.
So let's talk about that a little bit, since you want to bring it up.
Because I've been bringing it up before.
Go ahead and go off, sis. Go off. Go off.
For those people who may not know, in our culture, one, when you're black, and two, when you're of church, there's this mentality that like you just pray about it, and it's supposed to fix the problems. There's a quote, and I hope I don't misquote it, by Anita Phillips.
Okay.
She is a licensed therapist, but she's also a pastor.
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It says, prayer is my weapon. Therapy is the strategy.
Oh, yes. So I've seen that quote. Yes.
Like we pray. That's our weapon, of course. But just like you need to go to the regular doctor when you're sick, you need to go to someone to help. And the mind will only use a percentage of it. So it's like, it's such an intricate thing. And it's important that we get those tools so we know how to do that. And prayer.
Yes.
The podcast I was telling you about, The Basement with Tim Ross, he's really been instilling in me the idea that like two things can coexist at once. So it's prayer and therapy. And with those together, as Dr. Anita Phillips, she says in the beginning of her intro, it's divine intervention. And it's so important. So for people in the Black church, I do think, especially because of the pandemic, there's been more safe spaces opening up for people to have these conversations, which I think is so important because yes, Jesus is my rock.
Okay.
But sometimes when I'm having a panic attack,
yeah.
I need to know
yeah.
that I need to breathe
yes.
and maybe do a little bit of
Exactly. I need some references that
Yes.
a licensed therapist can give.
Absolutely.
And I definitely agree with that. And for me, from my experience, it wasn't until I went to a church with a white pastor that he was like, listen, therapy and Jesus is okay. And sometimes if you need medication, that's okay too. Yep. Because there's sometimes a chemical imbalance where things like this are, those things are needed. But yeah, so it wasn't until, but I'm glad that more Black churches are talking about that and breaking that silence of, shh, don't talk about it. And, or yes, lean on God. And because you can do both. Yep, like, and you're going to be probably even more all right than you are. Okay. I have Daniel. He said, I love y'all queens. We love you too. Yes, and then we have Teresa. She said 2 things can coexist for sure. I love this. This has just been such a, and then you be having references. So listen, we might have to get all them references and put them in the show notes.
We'll send them and you can put them in the notes because their life changes.
They are. Right. And you talked about, before we got on here, you were talking about, because we were talking about just, you know, growing up with 2 parents in a Christian household, but there was still things that we had to deal with. And there was a test that you talked about taking. And I was like, wait, let's talk about it on the podcast because somebody might need this. So we talk about like mental health and understanding who we are in our journeys. And you were talking about this test that I want to take. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, absolutely. We can link that in there.
Yes, we're going to link all the references and good information.
So one of my friends put in the group chat, it's an attachment style test. And so it asks you a series of questions, and there's 4 different ones. I can't remember what they all are. I just know secure attachment is basically the one that you would prefer to have.
Okay.
And when I took it, I was anxious, preoccupied, or something like that. So what I was telling you was that when I was taking it, I kind of took it. It was hard for me to answer the questions because I was kind of answering them in what I either did or would have done in the past instead of where I am right now. So I had put in my group chat, I was like, I don't really agree with what my answer was. I was like, I'm in such a good space of like healing and growth. I feel like I answered those questions as the Camille I used to be instead of the Camille that I'm becoming.
Yes.
And so it also talks about with those attachment styles, how it might be linked to like what your parenting life was or that type of situation. But it was definitely a good, I'd like to say, barometer to know like where you're at and why maybe you do some of the things that you do in relation to romantic and friend relationships, because it touches on both of them.
Okay. Okay. Janessa said, oh God, not the Girl, listen, I'm a test person. I love me some personality tests, the love language test. So, like, do you take those type of tests often?
I don't normally. It was just sent to the friend. There is one. Is it Enneagram?
Yes, I have a book. I have a book. Okay, like it, but there's online tests. But like,
there is.
I definitely love those type of, because they be like spot on, and like even like you said, like how you're not that same person and sometimes you answer it in the wrong, like the way you used to instead of thinking. But I definitely feel like those are great resources as you're on your growth journey, because it definitely makes you self-aware. Yes. So let's talk about self-awareness. You talk about this, I'm not the old Camille anymore and things like that. So like, how is self-awareness like in your
it's been a journey to get here, honestly, because I think for a long time, it's almost like I was in like a cloud. Like I didn't know who I was or anything like that. And now I'm like realizing the things that I really love and the things that, you know, I don't really love so much. And then that's on all aspects of life. And I'm just aware of like who Camille is. And I love it. It's a journey. And that's why we're here.
That's why we are here.
Journey. Yes. And I'm loving the self-awareness of like really knowing who I am truly. And I think it'll just honestly help to make a better world. Like when you're confident in who you are, you can go out and make a better place.
Yeah, for sure. And those are some true things. So even for me personally, like self-awareness of my toxic stuff, because like I said, being in a relationship I was in, it was like, I kind of always, there was a lot there, but it's like, but what about what you got to work on? And I've realized that you talk about friendships and developing these new friendships and things like that. And it's like, dang, okay, I might be tripping, or like I might need to correct that about myself to do better. And like I think self-awareness is an exciting thing. And an embarrassing thing as well. It can be embarrassing. Yes. And then when you start checking yourself, like, oh, you tripping, you shouldn't go about how you communicate like that and things like that. Like, it plays a huge role in how you just grow, because I also don't feel like not everybody will understand how to have self-awareness. So I feel like I made a post the other day, like, if you go on this healing journey, you're a warrior, because not everybody takes that step. Absolutely. And it's hard. It is. And it is embarrassing, but it's so rewarding. It's so rewarding. So I love that you are on this journey, and you can tell you're just glowing with like, I know who I am, and I'm learning more and more who I am.
Yes, and it took a while to get here.
Yeah,
and so I want to just encourage anyone, like, don't think it's an overnight thing.
We still, yeah.
And two, like someone commented before, don't think there's not going to be pain, and don't think like, because I'm super excited one day, that there still can't be a day tomorrow. I'm like, no, I'm done.
I'm done. Yes, yeah,
and
that's true.
Because they be coming.
They do.
Like, listen. And I feel like sometimes people think like, you think it's not working because you still have those days. And one of the things that I love about my therapist that she instilled is like, it's okay to still have those times. Yeah. And you go through brokenness almost kind of like in a cycle. Like, you think you're, done grieving.
I was just gonna say that
something will come up, and so now you grieve around this aspect of something.
Grieving yourself. You're grieving the old version of yourself. And when you're on that healing journey, you grieve a lot. It's like an emotional roller coaster, but it's a beautiful emotional like you said, like there's those days where you're like, hey, I'm good, and the next, like I tell like even my clients and coaching, like, I am, just because I'm a confidence coach does not mean I'm always confident in who I am, but I work at it all the time.
The key is to keep carving at it, keep working at it, because it's so rewarding.
It's so rewarding. So I always like to ask this question. I feel like this is a good question in this part of our conversation because we're talking about this growth. So what would you tell young Camille at this age you are? I don't care how far ago it was, but like when you were younger, what would you tell her?
Honestly, what I talked about in the beginning, just to value yourself. Like, I know people always say, know your worth, and people can beat that into your head until you're dead. But it takes you doing the inner work for the light bulb to go off and realize, like, oh, this is what you meant by like knowing your value. So I would just tell her, don't be afraid to be you, and value yourself and love yourself, honestly.
Yes, I love it. And I feel like in some way a lot of the women that have been on this podcast kind of say the same thing. And so hearing that and hearing how you've overcome, like, or are overcoming, right? Because I feel like we said we're always on this concept, but like I think it's that speaks volumes to what even maybe we were taught, just comparing ourselves and things like that to others when we were younger, that we're now like those little girls again, but in a whole different way. And it's like, it's a beautiful thing. I started that question because during the soiree that you were at, I felt like a little girl, the little free girl, little Davina, because I was insecure. But that night I was just free, and I was like, oh, she's proud of herself.
Yes,
like,
and just a beautiful.
Thank you. So nice. Look, I prayed beforehand. I don't care how much we was turned up. It was getting prayed and anointed before. Okay, I think my camera got disconnected. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. We might have to do this like this. Okay.
That's okay.
Listen, look at how the devil be trying to work. Now
stay
you
here,
all
though.
can see. Okay. Listen, I don't know what happened. I was like, oh shoot, something just unconnected. But either way, we're getting ready to go anyway. We have been on here for almost an hour. Okay.
Doesn't even feel like
No, it doesn't. That's how you know it's good conversation.
Yes.
But before we end, is there anything that you have, like maybe I didn't ask, or that you want to say to the people? Anything you want to plug in? Anything? It's your time to shine even more than you already have.
I would just like to encourage people, like, on this journey called life. You know, there's roadblocks, there's obstacles, but stay persistent and do whatever inner work that you need to do, because there is light on the other side, and it's a beautiful thing. And then you can radiate to others, and they'll be like, why are you shining so bright? And you can be like, girl, let me tell you.
Okay. Yes.
And the only other thing would just be to thank you for having me here. I love you so much.
I love you.
Every time I know you might be somewhere, I'm like, oh, I can give her a hug.
I love you.
And I love your mom.
Listen, I'm a product of her. When
And
you talk about your mom, I was like, yeah, I feel you.
Yes, and I didn't realize, I don't know how I didn't know. I mean, we both live here. I don't know how I didn't know you, but your mom, because I didn't know her name, is Miss Sephora. And so I would be out, and it would be like she was like a movie star, because me and my mom would see her. We were like, it's Miss Sephora. And people would look at us like,
listen, that's what people be calling it. Now it's not even Sephora anymore. It's like JCPenney's Beauty, but
it is. So
she's
sad.
still here
Sephora need to run her some money. I'm telling you, the only reason I was going up in there was because I knew I was going to see her.
I know. She left a little bit. She left for a season because she helped open it. And then she left for a season, and she said so many people would come up to her like, I left when you left. Like, I really did. Facts. And people literally, she came back to work, and like, they're like, the store has not been the same since you left.
Absolutely not.
So shout out to mom. Both our moms.
Yes, shout out to mommies.
Yes, they're the best. Queens that come from Queens.
Absolutely.
Okay? Well, I just want to thank you. And I always love to, you gave me my flowers. So I want to give you yours because I am proud of you and your growth and the queen you are just continuing to become. I'm so happy for this conversation because I love the ones that I don't fully know people. And like, you just listen, if y'all was not in the comments, she was dropping all the gems today. Okay. We had a whole church service, therapy, everything. So I'm so glad I got to be your first of probably many now. Like, the doors about to start open. Like, we need you.
And I'm gonna be calling you like,
right?
Look what you did.
Might we're gonna have a conference one day, just all my powerful queens. But thank you, and just continue to be the light that you are.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of all the things that you've accomplished. So, and I just want everybody to know, thank you. We had people in the comments, like we still have people. Let me see if I can get in here. We have Elder Lyons. He said, great content. Thank you. Miss Sephora Zoe. That's my mama. And then we have Tiffany. She said, wish I would have caught more. You can watch on the replay, boo. Yes. She said, I'll tune into the recording. Thank you so much. Hi, Tiffany. That's you. I just realized who that was. You're going to be on here too. So that's my girl too. But yes, so thank you guys for just joining. Sorry for the technical difficulties that I just had, but we got
still persevere.
Exactly. But yeah, so until next time, remember guys, to like all the good things that Divinely Crown's on. Also, I've been posting about this soiree. You guys, I'm telling you, just because it's December, first of all, we're almost in the middle of December. Christmas is in 2 weeks. So get somebody a gift of the soiree tickets. So those you can find on Eventbrite. And just continue to tap in with Divinely Crown'd. 4 years on Monday. So, and we have another guest on Monday. So stay tuned. Let me see. Who is this? Oh, Brenda. Hi, Miss Brenda. She's known me since I was little. Has she known you too? Miss Brenda Johnson. I don't think so. No, she said this was a great conversation. I missed the beginning and we'll watch the replay. Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, guys, have a great weekend. There's so many Christmas festivities going on like now until Christmas. So enjoy, be safe, and remember you are divinely crowned. Bye.